Okay, so welcome everyone to our student anniversary project. My team and I, conformed by Valeria, Nicole, and Bryant, are going to talk about our family infographics in the first term. First of all, we have our concepts that we developed throughout the whole term, and I'm going to read each one and summarize them. Our key concept was communication. Our related concept context message, and our global context, identities, and relationships. Communication we defined as a way that we communicated with our parents or with our family members to find where we belong to. Related concept was the context message and how the space and time affected our project and what the activities we did throughout the term. Last of our context is global context, identities, and relationships, which we would try to define as how our identities affect our relationships and how they are both connected. And last but not least, our statement of requiring, which states a person's cultural identity and sense of belonging may derive from their family, language, context, and ethnicity, and social backgrounds. So here are the questions that we developed throughout the whole term. Factual question: what is identity? What does belonging mean? Well, we found out that identity is a way that we define how we define ourselves and how we define the things that we have. Belonging, we defined it as the way that we sense where we come from or where we try to be from. Finally, our conceptual question is, where do I belong? How do we become who we are? What makes us unique? How is social networking redefining identity? How do we present ourselves to others via social media? To sum this question really briefly, we try to define the belonging as I said before, where we come from or where we try to define as where we are from. And to address the social networking, we try to find how social networking helped us in a positive way and a negative way. And we found out that is actually not redefining, but is staging more and making identity more concrete. Last is our debatable question, which is how can people change? To what extent does social networking connect us or set us up farther apart? We found out that social networking actually connects us more than furthering us apart because we can connect with each other's meanwhile on our phones or in our computers. This is the cycle that we use throughout the whole term, which is investigation, action, and reflection. These are the materials we used, which was our digital notebook, our family echo, which were the materials we did for our family tree, which we're going to discuss later on, Canva to do our final project, Google to search images or information that we needed, Google Meet, which we use for the teacher to give us guidance. And last, our English notebook. First, we're going to start off with the investigation.
How we introduce ourselves through infographics. First of all, at the beginning of the semester, the Miss asked us about our hobbies and the members of our families, to get to know each other a little more and introduce ourselves to the topic that will come. The topic that we will touch will be about our origins. The Miss showed us activities and videos on the subject. From there, she told us that we would have to make an infographic by the end of the term. So she showed us what infographic were like. But not only did that, she teach us how they were and also taught us how to develop them. Gave us examples of infographics such as the prevention of COVID-19 among others. In the end, with all this knowledge, we managed to develop our own infographic. about our origins and presenting class.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the inner journey, which is Amamondo's project. This was our introduction to the first semester project. So next, please. Well, how is this work? I have this divide this in three phases so you can start in a better way. The first one is sample. In this phase, the participant gives a sample of saliva and are questioned about themselves, like what country do you like or what country do you feel connection and why. Then we have analysis. This is one of the most important parts of the project because here the scientists analyze the DNA sample to look where the participants come from and put all the information in a paper, which is finally given to the participant in the first phase. So here in the first phase and final phase, the paper with all the countries is given to the participant, and in that way they know where they are from. For example, I can be 10% Chinese or 2% for the United States and like that. Next, please. So this experiment has been tested in 67 people from all around the world. What is the purpose? Well, the purpose of this project was actually to show that there are more things uniting us than dividing us, that we have more in common than we think, and it's part of a vision of a more open-minded world. Next, please. So here's a video of one of the participants. Her name is Elaha. So here's Elaha. Here's in the first phase. She's being asked this question about herself, about her life, and she's actually asked to bring a book with photos about herself and her past, so they can know more about her. Next, please. So how this project was useful to us? So from my perspective, this project was really useful to us because it talks about your ancestors. While we were researching about our family and making our infographic, we need to know about our family, our past. So I think this was a really good introduction to our topic. Now Sandra's going to talk about knowing our family.
So this is a part of the action that we did throughout the whole term. Knowing our family. These are the 6 activities that we did to get to our final project. Our family tree. Here, what we did was compilate all our family members and try to do a family tree so we can present it. Here are some examples and evidences from our classmates. Then our family story, where we try to define funny things or a story that our family had and unique from others. As well, here are some examples. And now Valeria is going to explain all about our names.
Thanks, Sandra. In this part, we have to talk about our names. Next, please. We have to talk about the meaning of our name. For example, if you can see at the top, the name Camila means near to God. So this was a really interesting part of the infographic. Next, please. The second part or other part was hobbies. Next, please. Here we have to talk about what we like to do in our free time. For example, Camila likes to play volleyball. That's something that maybe we doesn't know and now we know. Finally, we have fun facts. In this part, we have to talk about some really fun facts ourselves that maybe nobody knows about us. So you can see some examples here. Next, please. You can see some examples of our classmates. Now Sandra's going to talk more about our family history.
So here in this video, it's an expert explaining how the importance of family and the way that he would define a family and how the importance of telling the stories about families throughout the whole history. And I'm not going to play it because it's too long, but I'll go to our final project. which was our products driving from all the activities that we mentioned before. Here we have some examples. And now Valeria is going to talk about her infographic and the journey to making it.
Okay, so here you can see my infographic is my actual work. At the top, you can see about my hobbies. I like to play basketball. That's why I put a basketball ball in there. So at the middle, you can see some fun facts about myself. Like I love to look Disney movies and that kind of stuff. You can see also I'm talking about where my family come from. I'm talking about my family come from Peru. And finally, I have talked about some family history about my family, and that's all.
Here is the infographic of Nicole, but due to some problems, she couldn't assist to the presentation. But I'm going to try to sum it up, which is she tried to use all the facts listed and then add some images to make it more fun and more attractive. Now we come to the reflection. Our metacognition. Each one of us is going to answer some questions so you can understand what was the difficult parts and our opinion over this project. What have I learned? I have learned that many of my family isn't that much connected as I thought it was. I learned this throughout the blog, throughout the guidance of our teacher, and throughout some information that I found in the internet. So Valeria is going to read the next two questions.
Now I'm going to talk like, for me, maybe some of my friends, it was kind of difficult to look a creative way to make our infographics because we have to decide to not put a lot of colors, but we also have to decide how to put all the information. And how this is useful to me? Well, this was useful to me in a way that I can know more about my family, my sisters, and my past, and that really improved the way I look to my family.
How is this useful to me? Well, this is useful for not only having more experience on developing infographics, to be able to make them more easily in the future. We also discover more about ourselves and where we come from. How can I improve it? We can improve it like adding more information, more decoration in infographics. In general, the type of information that it managed.
Here are our sources we used to make this presentation. And thank you very much for all of you assisting.
Thanks.